All right, part 3. Let's see here. Romans 1:30. I'll start back at 29. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. Whew. Slanderers, God-haters, insolent. Okay, so they're gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant and boastful. Arrogant and boastful. Okay. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant and boastful. Okay. So verse 29 to 30a. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. Okay, yeah. So continuing on, let's do again. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new ways of doing evil. Okay. They invent new ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. Okay, so moving on. Furthermore, I should check this out. Furthermore, since they didn't think it worthwhile. Okay, not worthy. Furthermore, since they didn't think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, He gave them over to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new ways to do evil. They disobey their parents. They invent new ways of doing evil. They invent ways of doing evil. So no new. Okay, so continuing on, let's try that again. Furthermore, since they think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, He gave them over to a depraved mind. A depraved mind. What's it? A depraved mind to. Oh gosh. Okay. Furthermore, since they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, He gave them over to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have been filled with every kind of wickedness. Every kind of wickedness. Every kind of wickedness. Evil, greed, deceit, and malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. Sorry. Oh no. They have been filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. Depravity's first. It's kind of weird. It's very strange to say depravity. Let's do depravity first. Depravity. They're full of evil. No, they're full of murder. They're full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. That's it. So that's Romans 1 to 28 to 30. Okay. Whoops. Lost it. So let's try from the beginning, actually. Yeah, I think I have it. Paul, a servant of Christ. So this is Romans 1 to 30. Paul, a servant of Christ Jesus, called to be apostle, set apart for the gospel of God, the gospel he promised beforehand through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures regarding his Son, who, as to his human nature, was the descendant of David, and whose spirit of holiness was declared with power to be the Son of God by his resurrection from the dead, Jesus Christ the Lord. Through him and for his name's sake, we received grace and apostleship to call people from among all the Gentiles to believe to the obedience that comes of faith, and you also among those who are called upon Jesus Christ. Grace and peace to you from God. To all in Rome who are loved by God and called to be saints, grace and peace to you from God our Father and from the Lord Jesus Christ. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is being reported all over the world. God, who has served me wholehearted preaching the gospel of faith, Sunday is my witness, how constantly I remember my prayers at all times, and I pray that now at last by God's will the way may be over me to come to you. I long to see you, so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. I do not want you to be unaware, brothers, that I planned many times to come to you, but I have been prevented from doing so until now, in order that I might have a harvest just among you, just as I have had among the other Gentiles. I am obligated both to Greeks and non-Greeks, both to the wise and the foolish. That is why I am so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are at Rome. I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone. Because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes, first for the Jew, then for the Gentile. For in the gospel, a righteousness from God is revealed, a righteousness that is by faith from first to last, just as it is written, the righteousness by faith. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is clear to them, because God has made it clear to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God, nor gave thanks to him. But their thinking became futile, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Foolish hearts. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like mortal men and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity, for the degrading of the bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised. And because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Period. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their perversion. Furthermore, since they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, he gave them over to a depraved mind. Gave them over to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have been filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent ways of evil. They disobey their parents. I think that's it.